Good morning. Welcome to Becca's World. I'm your host, Blind Becca. Today, Meg, Kayla, and I are going to be discussing the reopening of America and what we're experiencing as we go out there and participate. Thank you for joining us today. How are you, ladies?
Doing great.
Okay, so who would like to share first today?
I guess I'll go, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So my daughter graduated elementary school this past week. So that was a big event for her, sort of. It should have been. But because of the social distancing standards and everything we all have to kind of obey by at this point, the school did what they called a reverse oh my gosh.
Graduation ceremony?
It was a parade. It was a reverse
Oh,
parade. Sorry. So what happened was all the teachers stood outside along the outside sidewalk of the school about 6 feet away from each other, and they all had masks on. And all the families just rolled their windows down, and we waved and said goodbye for the year to all the teachers that way, which was really cute. I videotaped it all. And then after that, they did like a special drive-through one just for the sixth graders, and they gave them diplomas, and both the kids got awards and stuff. So it was really cute. Both the kiddos got a award for great artist, and then my daughter's was hilarious. Hers is most likely to win the lottery but lose the ticket, which is so her. She always loses everything. So I thought that was hilarious.
That's really cute.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. My mom made a banner that said congratulations, and it had the school logo on it and everything, and we hung it up in the living room just to celebrate a little bit.
Oh, that sounds adorable.
Yeah.
So. I finally made it to the salon last week. I actually wound up being a 2-day thing. I was there on Thursday for several hours getting a pedi and a mani. And I got some of my waxing done on Thursday, but then I wound up having to go back on Friday for my Brazilian. And so I was really nervous, because it's a Brazilian. It's like the worst, like the most painful part.
Yeah.
So I got smoked a lot of weed before I went, but still I was really stressed out. And Melanie, my new waxing lady, she was like, she could tell I was stressed out, but she was so good at her job. She got me talking, right? And before I knew it, she's like, okay, you're done. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. It was crazy, right? And and I was talking to her while she was waxing me, and I said to her, what are the 3 most amazing things that have ever happened to you? And she just popped up with 3 really funny and interesting stories right off the top of her head, right?
Wow.
And so I asked her, I said, hey, can I interview you? And she's like, totally. And so she's going to be coming in for an interview one of these days. But something else was, I asked her about how she does her job, and she was describing it to me. And I said to her, that sounds like something blind people could do. And she said, oh, definitely. She said, blind people could easily do this waxing. And so I asked her, I said, well, would you feel comfortable discussing how you do your job then when I interview you about this other stuff? And she said, of course. So yeah, when I get her in for her interview, we're going to talk about that as well, because I think it's fascinating. It's being an esthetician, so.
Yeah, that is
really interesting. Because it is something that a blind person could do, and it's something that some sighted people would be like, oh no, I don't know if I'd allow that, but or let that happen. But really, it's all about in the comfort. Because obviously, they're gonna have to feel a little bit more, and with the tools that they have. But people need to.
Yeah, maybe you wouldn't want to have a blind person give you a Brazilian, but they could wax your armpits or your face or your legs.
Yeah.
Other parts of the body that aren't so private. Okay,
Right.
blind people could easily be as waxing and doing other parts of skincare because there's like peels. And there's actually lots of things that estheticians
Facial.
do as far as skincare, that
Yep.
blind people could easily be able to administer to clients. So I thought it would be a good idea to just, um, uh, investigate that idea with her while I'm interviewing her. So I was going to do that as well. And she's such a fascinating young lady. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I had such a great experience. And so like I used to go to two different shops. I'd go to one place to get my waxing, my pedi, my mani, and I'd go to a different salon to get my hair done. But this salon I found now, I was able to get my hair done and my waxing and my pedi and my mani done all at the same shop. But it's with three or four different stylists because they're all private contractors, but they're all working in the same building. So it's just, I think I'm going to like it better, than
I
having
love
to go to
it when it's
one
all
salon.
in one too, like especially like at a doctor's office when you go and you have to, do different things. I just love it when it's all right in the same place. You just
I
get it.
do like that. Like now, my doctor's office has a phlebotomist, so they can just take your blood right there. You don't have to go to the clinic and get it done and all that. It's
Mhm.
way more convenient. And when I was doing massage therapy back in the day, I worked at a place that they had massage, they did everything. Haircuts, manis, pedis. There was even a physical therapist that worked there. So it was really cool.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the cool thing I'm learning about these salons. There's so many options. And just like how the salons have so many options, if you choose to go into the field of just working with people's bodies and working with them in a holistic manner, there's so many options. There's some great schools in the Phoenix area here where you can get training to do a lot of these things. And like I said, so many of them are things we can do as blind people. Uh,
Right. I think that that's really cool that we think outside of the box because I know that sometimes we get stuck in, getting into voc rehab and, picking a job. I mean, obviously, we have to be realistic. But you can be realistic and think outside the box as well. It doesn't have to be, just one thing that we do. And I think that's really cool, to start thinking about or, to think about different ways that we could get out in the community and work and make it exciting to think about it and not so scary. So
I'm
it's really
glad you brought voc rehab up because I had a conversation with my voc rehab counselor about 2 months ago. He called me up and he was very confrontational with me at first. And he goes, "Hey, you got all this training at the taxpayer's expense. What are you doing with it?" And at
cool.
first I was really put off because I'm thinking in my mind, I'm like, hey, this guy has not been giving me any support since I got done with Savvy. And he has not been following what I've been doing. So I said, well, actually, since I got done with Savvy, I've been blah, 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 blah. And I just told him all the stuff I've been doing. And it ended with, and I just hit 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel before the end of the year. And before this quarantine hit, we were going monetized. And he's like, whoa, wait a minute, what? And he's like, how do you spell that? Because he's asking me about my YouTube channel. And he's like, really? It sounded like he was taking notes, right?
Oh, that's cool.
And I told him, I said, Joe, I said, there's a lot of blind people out there who have their own YouTube channels and they're making a living at it. I said, there's a lot of things blind people can do that you guys at Voc Rehab aren't thinking about. And I really think they need to start thinking outside of the box more at Voc Rehab.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like what you just said just now, like, when you, told him like basically that you had, an idea and you were telling him, you were justifying it. I think that's part of it too, is that, and even sometimes I get in this rut and I have to think about it, and I have to be patient, but sometimes you want so much from people and they just are different things but they know what they're wanting and they're
Mhm.
doing it at their own time and their own pace and you have ideas and sometimes people just need to ask like
Mhm.
what are you doing and instead of getting so confrontational think about how we're talking to each other and um that kind of thing.
But that's one thing I've noticed about some of these people. So people used to come at me like that, and I would back down, and I'd feel like a horrible person because I'd be like, they're right, I'm not accomplishing anything. But I feel really good that now when people are coming at me, they're like, hey, what have you done to justify your existence? I'm like, this is what I've done, and this is what I've done, and this is what I've done. And they're like, oh, okay, I see. You know what I mean? But I'm realizing that most people, if not all people, have actually done a lot of amazing things. They just don't realize it. You know what I mean? Because so many people have convinced them that they haven't done anything amazing, or
I
that they're
also
in the process
feel
of doing anything amazing.
I also feel like people sometimes don't see what good things they do for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know if it's because they're told not to brag when they were little and stuff like that. But I've noticed that in people, and I'm like, oh, that was a really good idea, or you did a good job, and they're like, oh, no, not really. They just don't feel that way about themselves. A really cool thing that they just started with the Crafters Corner is we have Success Saturdays. So
Mm-hmm.
on Saturdays, an email sent out, and they have and you reply with something that you succeeded with this week, and whether or not it's craft related doesn't matter. But then we all congratulate each other, or you know, and it was really cool. We also do like want to know Wednesdays where we do a random question every week and everyone answers it just to kind of, get to know each other and stuff like that and keep the conversations going. But I really liked that. I thought it was a lot of fun seeing this week all the accomplishments everyone had.
Mm-hmm.
And it gives you a platform too, if to look back on your week and be like, oh, I did do this. Whether it's small or big, it's still an accomplishment.
That is
Mm-hmm.
super cool. I know, I mean, I've had that too, and it's kind of good to hear from other people. Like, there are times in my life that I felt like, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And I think that's like a normal thing for people. I don't think we're all supposed to feel like, good, or like we're in a purpose all the time. So that's something good to know, that I'm not the only one that felt that way. Um, and I think that sometimes it's just like lack of confidence, because sometimes, when you're getting a compliment, and it's just so surprising. But really, I mean, you have to stop and think, because you're so busy. You have to stop and think, I have done all these things. I've done this, I've done that. And sometimes it's just a matter of justification to people, because they've got their own stuff going on too. And then they look at you and it's like, like, what are what are you doing? And it's like, well, I'm doing this, and I feel good about myself because of this.
You
So
know, I'm realizing that I think all people have things about them that they feel have caused them to not perform at the same level everybody else does. Like, for some people it's something obvious, like us, it's our blindness. But for other people, people who don't have something obvious like their blindness, it's a lot of times it's just something that they've been convinced of throughout their life. I know my boyfriend is African American, and we've been having a lot of conversations, and he keeps telling me how much he loves me and how much he appreciates that I love him and accept him for who he is. But to me, that's not the point. You know what I mean? Why should he feel like I'm doing him a favor by loving him and accepting him? You know what I mean? We should all love and accept each other, no matter what our conditions are or our situations. And it really irritates me. See, like, I used to feel like I had to apologize for being blind, and like I had to try to do better because I was blind, like I was lacking something, so I had to do more. And I realized that a lot of my African American friends have felt the same way, like they have to perform better in life because they're African American. Like their performance is never good enough for anybody. That's the way they have always been led to believe, and I was always led to believe the same thing. Like, my performance was never good enough because I was blind, and I could never compete with anybody, any of my sighted peers. And I had to learn how to view my situation from a different perspective, so that I was no longer holding myself back, because I realized that measuring myself up to that standard, I was actually holding myself back. When I started measuring my performance to my standard, it was actually a higher standard. than everybody else. You know what I mean? And the fact that they were putting this restriction on me, they were saying, because you're blind, you can only perform at this level. And they had, most of society had their level that they had chosen for me to be allowed to perform at because I was blind. And I've realized a lot of my African American friends have had the same restrictions put on them because of their race. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
And
do know,
so
but
a lot of
I
people, because of
haven't.
their race or lots of different reasons, are put in little boxes,
Yeah, I feel very grateful though because I was never treated like I was blind by my
Mhm.
family and friends. So I feel like in some aspects, yes, I was a little more protected.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know if people are like, oh, she's a sweet, innocent little blind girl. Let's protect her, kind of. But as for expectations, my goal in life was to exceed other people's expectations of me. That was just, I wasn't ever told I couldn't do something because I was blind, except drive, which is probably safe for all of us. But
Thank
that's not
you.
to say I've never driven a car.
Mhm.
I've driven cars.
Mhm.
Um, in empty parking lots on dirt roads, you know, and people, so I was given every opportunity. My parents never told me I couldn't do something because I was blind. I feel like I feel sometimes that my sister that's right above me was given more support in different ways than I was. And I asked my mom once, I'm like, how come you did all this for her, but not for me? And she's like, because you could do it. And that was it. It was, I gave off the impression I got this. So I didn't get the benefit of not being able to do it on my own. I just did it. And I didn't complain because I felt like, what is the good of me complaining? What good is that going to do? It's not going to change it. I'm already doing it. Let's just keep going. I
That's an
guess.
interesting concept. That is fascinating. I wonder if, because I felt the same way. I felt like my parents didn't give me the support they gave my other sisters. And I used to think it was because I was the oldest. So they figured I had it all figured out. But then I went blind at the age of 12, and I actually needed a lot of help that they just refused to give me. But looking back, I wonder if they thought I had it all figured out, or I would figure it all out. Maybe they believed in me enough, maybe that's what the
Yeah.
case was.
And
Or
also
the
you went blind at the age of 12. My
Mhm.
mom knew there was something wrong with my vision when I was 10 months old.
Yeah.
So mine was I was never I that's me always,
Mm.
And the way she found out I couldn't see is I was walking by 10 months old, 8 months old. She
Mhm.
rearranged the house when I was 10 months old and I started walking into everything because I
Oh,
had memorized where everything was. And that's
wow.
how she found out I couldn't see very well. And it wasn't until I I was over 2 by the time I was actually diagnosed. They just kept sending me home telling her there's nothing wrong with me.
Wow.
So it just I will see. I mean, that's just me. I'm a guess. I mean, I was walking at 8 months old. I just do things, I don't think about it. I just do it, I
Mm.
guess.
Well, I think too, I mean, I felt okay at home, but like once I got out into the community, I mean, it's not like a lot of people are like mean and I mean, well, some of them are, but most of them are asking, or they don't have the knowledge. Like they see you with a cane and they're like, oh, they get a stigma, or they have false pretenses about what, who you are, what you're doing, and oh, or what
They
you're, you know
they
what I mean?
jump to conclusions and do silly things like grab our canes because they jump to the conclusion that we must need help.
Right. So it was good, like that I had at least that at home, to where, I know that when I at home I pretended like I could see a lot better than I really could. Like I wanted to be like everyone else. And then when it came down to it as an adult, going out in the world trying to fake everyone out, it wasn't really working. And so, actually, Kayla's the one that told me, you should start using a cane. And and it's actually been so much easier for me to go out, because I used to be so fearful of, like, what are people gonna, people are gonna look at me or stare at me or whatever. It's like, now I'm just like, oh, I can, walk, and I don't have to look down, and I don't have to pretend. Because what do you think a sighted person's gonna think of you looking down and trying to figure out where you're going, or tripping over something, as opposed to
Yeah.
using your cane and doing your best to try,
You
you
probably
know?
prefer that they're staring at you in awe of how competent and capable you are with your cane, instead of them staring at you because you're falling down and you're scared and can barely go anywhere, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and some people, like, hopefully that's what they're doing, is looking at you in awe. But I know some people, they still have that, like, I don't believe in blind people perception of everything. And, you
Well, we're
know,
just proving them wrong. We really do exist whether or not they believe in us.
Yeah.
right.
And honestly, I was kind of the same way. I pretended I could see until I had my daughter and I was doing stuff on my own with her. I'm like, "Oh, I better start using a cane so my daughter's safe. So people can know I can't see very well." But up until then, I worked, I did everything. I never used a cane until yeah, until I was like 26, 27 years old. And like I said, I was diagnosed when I was 10 months old and I didn't use a cane until it was not my safety in question anymore.
So,
I
do you ladies feel like your canes gave you more freedom and independence than you had before you started using canes?
I feel like it
I
gave me
like my
confidence.
child. Oh, sorry, Kayla. Go ahead.
Oh, I feel like it gave me confidence because then at first I didn't like it still. It felt awkward. It
I didn't
feel,
like it
you
either.
know, I didn't feel like it helped a lot, but it was good for my daughter. Now I'm to the point I don't like to leave. I get anxiety if I don't have it with me. And it's much easier when you have a cane in the bathroom when you're going in alone, to try to find, so, oh, this stall's open, rather than me blindly feeling my way down trying to find an open stall and then realizing they're all full, or, you know, um, it it actually took a lot of the awkwardness that I didn't realize I was putting on
Right.
myself away.
I know what you're talking about. That's how I felt too. I'm like, wow, because, like, as you get older, and you're like, I mean, I've seen sighted people, go and ask somebody, hey, where's this thing or whatever. But if it's like right in front of you, and they're like, it's right there, and you don't
Yeah.
have your cane with you, and you're just like, oh, it makes it really awkward. And so that's why I'm like, I'm a cane, can't can't see, sorry. So
But I still had that happen one day. I had my cane and I was at Target and I was looking for something in the pharmacy. And the pharmacist is like, it's right in front of you. I'm like, well, is there any way you could come over here and tell me which one it
wow.
is? Because I can't see. And I had my cane, and I like pointed to my cane. It was like, oh, like, even when once I pointed to my cane, like I'm blind, he still
Right.
didn't get it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you work in the the medical field, and you still don't know what a white cane is. Come on. So I think that it's just other people just, I don't know how people can be, I don't know, go through like medical school and stuff like that. Do they not have any sort of disability training in the medical field? It seems like that would be like at least hit on one day. I don't know.
You even have to go to medical school to know what a white cane is. My understanding is that when they teach you driver's ed, they teach you what a white cane is, so
Oh
that you
God.
don't
Okay, so
have
I
to drive
didn't even know
school.
that. So
Oh jeez. Oh my gosh.
What happened?
Sorry. Well, I mean, I that piece of information is just very scary, because of all the people that are so patient, all the people that it just are so, like, ignorant to it, I guess. And
I
not
know
in
I
a
was
bad.
trying to find a nicer way to say
I
that.
know,
That's not
I
the nicer
know.
way either.
Oh wow. Okay. Next.
But
I haven't taken a driver's ed test, so I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Well,
So
so I'm the oldest of 4 girls, and all 3 of my little sisters took driver's ed, and then I have 2 sons, and my stepkids. So both my stepkids took driver's ed, and my oldest son was about to take driver's ed when before my husband and I separated. So I've done a lot of I've gone through the PAM or the driver's ed manual a couple of times with sisters and kids. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And yeah, it's in there all the time. The question of blind people with their white canes. They're taught what a white cane is because they have to know that people with white canes are blind so that they know that to
Don't
stop
hit up.
them. Yeah.
Yeah. Why? Yeah.
And that most often that people with the white cane have the right of way.
Oh yeah.
So that is one thing I did know, but I still don't trust people.
Pedestrians are
Like, oh,
always
Dan, here
supposed to
you
have the right of
go.
way. So, but yeah, white people with white canes in particular. So.
So, I was curious when I went to the eye doctor this week. We had to wear masks. They had us use hand sanitizer as soon as we walked in the door, and they took our temperature with a laser, which was really cool because I'm like, okay, he's like, I need to take your temperature. And I thought like something would touch my forehead or something. You know what I mean? I thought there'd be some touch.
Yeah.
But it was just a laser that took my temperature, which was pretty cool. I was wondering when you went to the salon, did they take any precautions like that? Where
Oh, they said it was required that you wear masks and it was suggested that you wear gloves, but they didn't check your temperature. And so I had my mask on. And the thing is, so part of your treatments um, are done on your face. So that
yeah,
was another thing. You had to wear your mask unless it was interfering with what you were having done. So most of the time I had my mask on, but part of the time I didn't have it on because like I had my face waxed.
yeah.
And then there were times when she was doing my hair when she'd have me take my mask off and hang it from one ear or vice versa, so. But I felt very comfortable in the salon and everybody seemed to. It was so nice getting the care. And I'm glad I found a salon where I can get everything done instead of having to go to multiple places like I used to.
Yeah,
Did
it's
you have to?
right.
What did you say?
I was asking if it was close to where you lived.
It's quite a bit. So I used to go to, there were a couple different nail salons I used to go to. I used to go to a place called Nails Around the World, which is quite a ways away. And I used to go to DL Nails, which was quite a ways away also. But I used to get my hair done exclusively at Penny's salon. I used to use Penny's in Missoula when I lived there. I used Penny's when I lived in Minneapolis, and I used Penny's here for my hair. So this was really weird for me getting my hair done at a nail salon.
Hmm.
But and then of course the conditions for the new quarantine or the new virus restrictions also made it interesting, the whole mask thing. But we were able to make it all work out. And everybody at the salon seemed to be very happy to be there. The women who were working as well as the customers. I think everybody's happy to be back.
Yeah.
Did you have to make an appointment?
So I did have to make an appointment. Now, like I said, what I used to do is I would just call a nail salon and I'd make an appointment, and I'd make an appointment to get everything waxed and get a pedi and a mani. Well, what I did was I just called this salon and I actually left a message. This was when stuff was first starting to open up, and I really didn't know if I'd hear back. But thankfully, the manager called me back and she's like, hey, she said, I'm just the manager of the salon. She's like, you got to call this girl to get your pedi and this girl to get your waxing and this girl for that. And so I actually had to call all 3 of the ladies, but they kind of made it easy because like 2 of them kind of talked to each other and found out when they would both be there. So I kind of just had to let the other girl know when I was going to be at the salon. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it worked out really well, and I got to meet so there was the manager, she's actually the one that did my hair, and then the girl that did my waxing, and then the girl that did my pedi and my mani. And so I met 3 really nice ladies, and this is my new salon. This is where I'm going to be getting everything done in the future, because it's very convenient. And I don't know. Anyway, it was great.
So, are we allowed to say the name of the salon on the show? What salon? I'm just curious.
I'm trying to remember what it's called. I'll have to get back to you on that.
That's
Yeah, because it's a new salon for me. Oh,
ooh,
it's something ravishing, I think. What is it? Let me think. Ravishing. Simply Ravishing is what it's called.
okay.
Is the name of the salon.
Is it
But
in Mesa?
yeah, it's from Mesa. I think they've got several locations around, but yeah, it's the Simply Ravishing salon that I found, and it's a really cool place. Like I said, the manager is really cool, and like I told her when I first, like I left the message, and I didn't even know if I'd get a call back. So when she called me back, I told her, I said, "Look, I'm blind. I really need to get in for." Da, 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 da," and I told her all the services I needed, and that's when she's like, "Well, you got to call these girls and blah blah blah." But she really understood what my needs were, and she I asked her, I said, "Could you please send me their contacts so I've got them?" Because she's like, "Well, can you write this down?" But she really worked with me and gave me the information I needed in an accessible format, so I was able to call the girls, and it all worked out really well. And I like my new salon and my new um I don't know if you call them all, they're not all hairdressers, but consultants or practitioners or whatever you want to call them.
So, Megan, have you been out much since the restrictions have released a little?
Well, as far as working, we have been starting, thank goodness, to start working more. I've noticed that the city buildings are getting, slowly but surely, getting more people in them, random, but it's, I have a good feeling, at least, for right now. It's very interesting to see the patterns of, like, what's being done now, like the new, as far as, the new way of life, I guess you could say. Um, more traffic, the pools are opening, but it's going to be different. Parents are going to be leaving their kids, more, like the older kids. I don't know about the younger kids, but that'll be different, so they can swim, and so it'll be interesting to see the patterns of where people will start to congregate now again, um and the things that they're doing. So yeah, I've been out there.
My kids gymnastics is reopening on the 1st. So they'll start going to gymnastics again. They're super excited, but there's no parents allowed in the building. Um Basically the way it's going to work is they're going to take your kids temperature as they walk. Well, instead of signing them in first, they're giving us little, like, it sounds like they're the little tags kind of that you use at like Fry's for your VIP card or whatever, and you scan them to log your kids in
Mhm.
now. And then they'll take their temperature, and then they will have the kids all hand sanitize. The coaches aren't allowed to like touch or I guess that's the part that kind of scares me, is they're not allowed to like support the kids as much as they used to be able to for
Mm.
coaching. Um, and then the coaches will all have like spray bottles and towels to wipe everything down in between each kid. They've spread out the like each station. They spread them all out so they're further away, and they're going to use fanoodles to help keep social distancing for the kiddos. And then at the end, we go to the back of the building and they'll walkie talkie our kids out, and they'll jump in our car and we'll leave. So it sounds like it's going to be a little different.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. But they're
How long
excited.
how long is the gymnastics class? Like
It's
20,
now.
30 minutes, an hour?
Yep. Twice a week, an hour. And both of them go. So
Mhm.
they enjoy it. They like it a lot. They're
It'll be
really,
something like to get out and do again. I mean, I'm sure kids are just like going crazy right now, being cooped up, and you know,
yeah. Well, we've been taking them swimming.
true.
So, but other than that, is I mean, we've gotten together a little bit in small groups. We went to Sunday dinner for the first time last week in 10 weeks, and so that was fun.
Mhm.
Um, but we really haven't been doing a whole lot. And when we do go, like we went to Target, we all wore masks, and I got a new lamp that's really cool and cute in my living room. I'm like, I'll just make my house even better.
Yeah, I just got some new light bulbs. I have to put them up like in a high voltage ceiling though. So I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, I need to borrow a ladder, and I'm like, I'm
You
kind of
need an
wondering.
extension ladder, Meg.
I
My house,
know.
yeah. So you can get one of those at like Home Depot or a place like that. But
Yeah.
you also need someone to climb up on it. How are you on ladders?
I feel like I could do it. I just for right now, I'm probably gonna borrow a ladder, but that's actually a good idea. I should like invest in my own. But I did get these light bulbs that say that they are supposed to last for like 15 years. And as
Mm,
long as they are the right kind of fitting light bulbs, they're supposed to last for 15 years. See how that
mm,
goes. So, but I'm still gonna need one in, I everyone should have a good ladder.
yeah.
I just got myself a new grill that I will talk about with you guys if we have some time. I'm excited about it.
Oh, you got a new grill?
Accessible for the blind.
You got one
Well,
accessible. My grill's pretty cool too. How
I
what
was gonna say the accessible for the blind with zero experience. Yeah. But anyway, so I don't know if we wanted to get off that subject or
uh,
um
well, as
what
far as the barbecuing subject as a blind person, you know what? When I went to Savvy, I was told that blind people can barbecue, but I never was taught how to barbecue. But I got this big grill just before the quarantine hit, and my boyfriend, like, after he put it together, he let me look at it, and like I opened it all up. I think I could cook on it. I think you're right, Meg. I think they're blind accessible, dude.
Oh yeah, I do too. Is yours propane?
Um, no, it's what is it? A pellet grill? So
Oh,
like you buy the flavored pellets and we put
mhm.
them in there and it's actually smoke. It's more of a smoker.
I know
So
what you're talking about.
you put the meat inside and it smokes it and it's so good.
Yeah, a lot of my blind friends that I asked about that are telling me that they got smokers, and I'm like, I don't know if I could, handle that as just me grilling. Like, I need to see if
Mm,
I even will grill. First of all, and I
mm.
wanted to kind of get the hang of like flipping things a little bit on a grill, kind of get myself used to it. So, but I think that's really cool, and that's probably one of the next things that, or like within the next couple of years that I would look into if I find that I'm grilling quite a lot.
Well,
But
so
oh my,
here's the thing about the grill, Meg, and at least about the smoker, and I think barbecue grills. I mean, it's been a long time since I had a barbecue grill. I never did learn how to cook on it, but I really studied my grill here that I bought. 'Cause one of these days, I'm going to try to cook on it myself. And it doesn't look like you have to flip the meat. You put it in there on a rack, right? Like it's like a rack in the oven. So you could probably choose to put a rack from your kitchen into the smoker, on the rack, or you can just put like my boyfriend. He just puts the links in there, or the pork chops, or the steaks, or chicken breasts, or whatever. You just lay it on the rack, close the door, set it to the temperature you want it cooked to, and walk away. There's
Do
no
you
yeah,
flipping. There's
forget
no
it?
flipping involved because it's like it's like encased. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I think you do. I mean, I've seen where you have to. I think you do have to flip it. I mean, is he? I hate to ask. I mean, is your boyfriend sighted?
He is sighted, yeah. But
Okay.
but he just puts the meat in there and like, so our grill, maybe I have a fancy, well, it's not a really fancy grill, but the smoker thing goes around, so it evenly cooks. You literally just put the meat in there. You don't have to flip it and stuff.
Okay.
And,
I mean, I don't know that much about him, so that's really cool to know.
and
I
so
saw
you were saying that some of your friends had smokers and they really liked them, and maybe that's why I never did look at barbecue grills when I used to be with my husband and we used barbecue grills, but I know the smoker, like you literally don't have to flip anything.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I could, and I know that they have the temperature gauge on it, which is really nice, and it's
Mhm,
electric.
mhm,
And actually, when I was at the barbecue store talking to a salesman about them, they're coming out with a new one that's like twice the price.
mm.
So if you're getting, the one that they have now, that like they're, not going to be using, or not going to be selling anymore, it's like half the price, and it's like amazing. But like I said, I want to make sure that I will actually, you know feel comfortable in doing it. I don't, I just don't want to get something like that just for me, so I'm just like, I want to see
Oh,
what else.
yeah. I know I would not have felt comfortable getting the grill had my boyfriend was he not already living here, you know what I mean? I
Yeah,
totally got the grill planning on him cooking on it. But
right.
once I got it and he put it together
You're
and
like,
I looked at it, I thought, "Hey, I think I could probably cook on this." So one of these
this
days
is
I'm
so
gonna try it.
cool. You're like, here, I'll get the grill. You just cook on it. That's all you got to do. No, I love it.
And he loves cooking on it. So
That's so cool.
That is really cool. I don't know how comfortable I would be cooking on a regular grill as well. I know that like I have an air fryer, and I've had three different ones. And I have one I won't even touch because I'm like, nope, that just is not gonna work for me. And when my old air fryer died, the one I was actually able to use pretty well, I did a lot of research and I got one that opens like an oven. It doesn't have a drawer, and I love it. I cook it. I use that more than my oven. It was actually funny because last night I went to put something in the oven and I preheated it, and I realized my pizza stone was still in there from a week ago. I hadn't used my oven
Oh
in a week.
no. Uh,
Which
your
is good
pizza
because the
stone?
oven costs so much more, huh?
Did you say your pizza stone?
Yeah, because we made pizzas. Pro- We make pizza as a family like once a month,
Do
or
you
I
have
mean, almost
do you
once
have
a
a
week.
special do you have a special like stoneware pan or tray that you make your pizza on? Is that what you're saying?
So I make the pizza on a regular pizza pan, but then I cook it. I put the pan on the stone because I can't get the pizza off the stone in the oven. So I just put my pan on the stone, and that gives it
Oh.
enough extra heat. I also cook it at 550 degrees.
Mhm.
And that's only because that's as high as my oven goes. I do it higher if it went higher.
how,
But
Oh.
having the pan directly on the stone helps crisp up the bottom of the pizza a little bit.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it's so good. Oh my gosh. My
how long?
kids, I've almost ruined my kids though, because there's like very few pizza places that they will eat from. Megan will attest to that. They've stayed overnight and she'll order pizza and they're like, I don't like this pizza, and then I feel really bad, but they're used to making their own.
Yeah,
So
it's all good. They're home cooked meals. I'm more like, get out of
they're
Starbucks.
they're,
They
they're a
come over
little
here,
bit
they're like,
snobby.
no, I mean, it's all
But as
good.
a kid, I didn't, I wouldn't have been like, oh, pizza, no, thank you. It's, I'm like, it's pizza, you eat it. That's it. The
Mhm.
end.
They're good kids. I love them. So it's all good. We find things that they'll eat. They're
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
No worries, mom. You got it.
So,
So anyway, I was, really excited. I wanted to talk about a little bit about how I feel about getting together in small groups right about now, in groups. And so I have, um because I do not want to be scared to live my life, and I understand that there's things going on, and I am taking it very seriously. However, since we are starting to open up, I feel that, me getting together in small groups in a setting that I know, is fine, if I trust the people. And so, I set this rule for myself that I will be around 10 people or less, until further notice. And it's just something that I'm doing, to protect my community and protect my friends and the people around me. Not that I think any one of us, I'm not gonna sit there and stress over, oh my gosh, is somebody sick? I just want to make sure that I, know the risks, and that I'm in a place that I feel comfortable, and that my friends are in a place that they feel comfortable, and that we have plenty of wipes. And so we're starting to do that, and it's been really nice.
It has been. The kids and my husband and I went over to Megan's and went swimming, and it's just so nice to see people again. Even in those small groups, like, just, like I said, I went to Sunday dinner and saw family, and there was 10 of us, um and that was the most I've been around, and you know like I said, 10 weeks since we'd gotten together with the family. And so that was kind of nice. But it's really nice to be able to go over, because Megan only lives like a mile from me. So it's nice to be able to go over there and visit with her. And we actually rode our bikes over there one day. So that was really fun. And then just getting the kids out has been a tremendous help, just in their well being and everything. So, but
Isn't it crazy the situation with the schools?
it is. I'm kind of. I don't know what they're gonna do in when it comes August. They don't know what they're gonna do. I got an email from the school district. They're basically, it said they're looking into options. Um, I don't know if they're gonna work on getting a better program put together if they are staying home, or if they're going to stagger start times like the CDC recommends, or which that kind of worries me for bus
Well, see the
situation. That's because right
my
now the way it is, like, elementary school starts at one time, junior high starts at another, and high school starts at another. So the buses are able to go to all three. So if they're staggering start times and stuff like that, that kind of worries me about transportation for them, because we live too far for me to get them to school. Like, I'd have to Uber or Lyft them to school every day
oh
if
my god,
transportation is an issue.
oh my god, Kayla, I appreciate your situation. Like, that is so key that a lot of people are dealing with right now. But what I was talking about was not just how we're going to get our elementary children to and from school. I'm talking about how this is affecting all age groups, from preschool to high school to college to all these schools that people go to, beyond high
Like,
school.
like
Like,
specific
it
training.
impacts
Yeah.
everybody. And
Yeah.
for an entire generation, for everybody to be affected, it just blows my mind, the magnitude, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so for all of them to figure out how they're gonna catch up when everybody lost so much, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and so, like, Arizona, they're just pushing everyone forward to the next grade. I think I mentioned it last week. I have my kids in summer school because I feel like they've lost so much. I mean, they were out 9 weeks this year, but last year when the school went on strike, they missed an additional 3 weeks of school. I mean, they've lost a lot. That's 12 weeks in 2 years of
Mhm,
education they've lost out on.
mhm.
Um,
That's more than a
so
semester if you think
yeah.
about
And so I did enroll them in summer school. It's all online. It seems like pretty close to what we were already doing
Mhm.
with the school the last night, or you know, they were doing it for about 6 weeks with the school. But it's very limited education. It's not, I don't know. It kind of scares me for the future if this is what education is going to be. So I'm hoping that they get more, because of this situation, they get a lot more things put in place so that online schooling could actually be an education, not
Mhm.
just a band-aid.
Yeah, not just a filler.
yeah.
Yeah. And I feel bad because I know they're trying, but I
Mhm.
feel like that's all it is like a little filler trying to, like,
Mhm.
appease the parents. They're doing something.
Yeah. And that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried that our children of all ages are going to be shortchanged. You know what I mean? Because, like I said, this is impacting all different age groups, all different types of schooling. You know what I mean? Like, what about the people who were going to be graduating from universities this spring and were going on to great careers in companies that are now folding or whatever? You know what I mean? These are things their entire lives they've been working for years to for these, planning their entire lives around this stuff. And
Yeah.
to have the whole world just everybody's plans be set aside and everybody's routes in life rerouted, it blows my mind.
It's crazy.
Does I was watching the news this morning, and it's the first a little bit I watched. I was gonna try to catch up on stuff before the show today, but they were talking about how companies and alongside like human resources need to start doing a wellness, having someone in charge of wellness and giving information and stuff like that for like mental health and stuff like that for people who are going through this transition, because it's the world has changed. There's no getting around that. So you go with the flow, or you can try to run upstream. But
Without a paddle.
about how they need to teach a lot of people like mindfulness and things like that alongside, just to keep people healthy in this new way, and how to cope, and that it's okay to not be okay, essentially, and it's okay to say you're not okay. And I think that is really important, because from a day-to-day thing, we're just like, oh no, this is just what we do, this is, and all those things are now different. The way we do pretty much everything is different than it was three months ago. So I thought that was really interesting they brought that up, and I agree. And so, yeah, I just thought that was pretty cool that that this horrific thing that happened to the world may actually bring a turn in the way people, you know, um, that the way they are expected to act, and the way that we are able to be more open with one another. And I think that that's really, really important when people are starting to go back into the community and they don't feel safe doing something, that it is okay to speak up and, be true to themselves.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
we just all need to learn to respect each other, no matter what our beliefs are and what their beliefs are and how they want to come back into the world. Is we really just need to treat one another with kindness, and it's okay if we're not all doing the same thing
Mhm.
in the same ways. So sorry.
Oh, that's
Well,
beautiful.
I think that through this experience of this virus and this quarantine and everything that's happened, I think I've learned to enjoy my loved ones a lot, to appreciate my loved ones a lot more, and to appreciate peace and quiet, because there's so much noise out there in the world. There's so much chaos and stuff. So I really have come to appreciate my serenity and rejoice
I
in us.
I agree. And like I said before, we're home all the time anyways. I love being home. I could take I don't like large social gatherings. 10 people or less. That is my jam. I'm totally down. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh my gosh, the world is doing me right now. Staying home, spending time with their family. We've played so many board games. Later today, we got a new Uno game. Later today, we are gonna sit down and I was gonna braille them so we could play Uno Minecraft edition. Not sure what
Oh,
that
that's
is yet,
cool.
but we played the game of life regular. We played the game of life with pets. We've watched so many movies like from my childhood with the kids. So I've really, really been enjoying this time with them. They're still, they're at that age where they're kind of like, I don't really need you anymore, but I still kind of, my son is. My daughter's like, whatever, I don't need you at all. I got it all. Just please do my laundry still, without the please. No. So I've really taken this time to spend with them because I'm grateful I got it, to be honest, because someday they're going to be with their kids, their family, doing their own thing, and I will at least have made bonded with them during this. And hopefully that will, give them some stuff that they want to do with their kids rather than just sit and play electronics all day or So I've tried to embrace it because, like I said, I can either fight it and be upset about it and be miserable, or I could just be like, this is just the new way of life, and find the positives in it. And that's really what we've been trying to do. I've been trying to help the kids, like, okay, what is your favorite parts of this? Trying to find the positives rather than the negatives. So, and Amazon is awesome because we get all kinds of new stuff all the time. So, that helps. Like, I'll order, and it's not even expensive stuff. Like, we ordered these rings that you put in the pool and then you can swim through them and make obstacle courses.
Oh,
So,
cool.
yeah, super cool. So when I do it though, we play a different way, as you have to get the ring around mom as she swims by rather than me trying to find the ring to go through it.
Right.
So it was so fun though.
That sounds great. It sounds like something I should get for my kids to play in the pool when they come back because
Yeah, I just got it on Amazon and it's really, really cool.
so what is it?
They have these little like pressure packs on them that you like, there's like a little button on it and you squeeze it a couple times and air inflates the little fish at the top of the ring so that they can float at different levels, so they can be deeper or more towards the top of the water. So they're really cool.
What did you say the toy is called on Amazon?
They are they're these plastic swim through rings. I'm not exactly sure what they're called. I can look it up though because I got them on Amazon. But it's a set of 3 rings. It was $20. And they'll use them all summer. So it was definitely worth it. We had a blast.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. Yeah. See, I wasn't here yesterday. They came over swimming too, which was great because, like, it's easy for them to come over and then they can, have a pool to swim in. And I love coming home to like people, so it's kind of
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
So, but yeah, we need to get together and get some steaks going on the barbecue, Becca, and
So do you guys want to come over to my place and grill, or do we want to come over to your place and grill, Meg? Either
oh,
one.
we'll figure it out. We'll see what the plans are. Sorry, I'm bouncing all around with
Mhm.
myself. But anyway, but yeah, we'll figure that out. I'm
Mhm.
excited.
Maybe we'll have Brandon shoot some footage of the pool slash barbecue party, and we
Oh.
can maybe add the clips to some of our Blind View episodes for people to
Well,
watch.
and that's some of the things that I kind of want to do to, like, with cooking, grilling, because I know that I'm nervous about it. And, in my own even workplace, it's like, when if I ask somebody to do something, I want to be able to do it too, so, being able to say, oh, I'm a blind person who is independent and can do all these things. Well, you know, not being able to grill, it's something that I really want to work on. It's something that I want to focus my attention on, and hopefully I'll be into it. And I think that with a foreman, starting out with that, it's going to be a lot easier to get used to the feel of the heat.
Mhm.
And I mean, because it can't be rocket science. Guys do it, right? Just
Right.
kidding.
I love you, Meg.
I'm just
But like I said, I looked at my grill and I felt that thing up and down, and I was like a child molester or what is that, a pedophile with my grill right. I was feeling that shit. and my and like I was like, oh yeah, I could cook on this because literally you just put the meat inside it, and you, of course, I would have to probably put a dot on the temperature gauge because I think it's just a spinner thing,
It
you
is, but
know.
it's the clicking noise. If it's the one that I'm thinking of, the Traeger that you're talking
Mhm.
about, does that
Yeah.
sound familiar?
I don't know, but what I'm saying is I'm really sure, like, after looking at this girl, I'm really sure I can cook on it, you know what I mean? I'm not intimidated at all.
That's
So,
cool. I mean,
if
there you go.
you're talking about us doing a video where we're learning to use our grills, let's do it. Is that what you're
Let's
talking?
do it, girls. That'd be so fun. I still have to put mine together. It looked really complicated, but YouTube had a video of someone doing it, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't need any screwdrivers or anything. Not that it would have been a problem, but with little different arrows and things, that does kind of become a little difficult when you're trying to put something in unless you're feeling it around to snap it in. But it looked very simple, and she didn't really need any tools. She was just snapping stuff in, and went from like the bottom to the actual grill. So Kayla's husband will probably be happy about that, because usually I ask him like, "Can you clean out
Oop.
my hot tub?" Or "Can you?" Yeah.
Yeah, but you let us
You
use
have
your
them do your
pool.
honeydew jobs?
Yeah, I do, and I mean, I feel bad because Kayla's like, I'm using your husband. I'm sorry, but
Okay, I use them too.
I'm like, I try to like make it up to you guys. Like,
You do.
I'm
You let us use your pool, and it works out. It always works out. And
like that.
like we don't keep
They
score.
never
It
know.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But Megan got a cool new blender and food processor this weekend too. That was fun.
Oh my gosh. So do we all know that, I didn't know this, that electronics or the appliances go on sale during holidays?
Oh, really?
I mean, didn't you feel
Yeah.
that way? I mean,
Yes.
I got some good deals.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll have to have a barbecue and food process up some veggies and steam them up on the Barbie and yeah, I get Barbie. I get it.
Make some drinks in the blender.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, do you girls drink margaritas?
Do.
I do, but I prefer daiquiris because me and tequila we don't have a very good relationship.
I love daiquiris.
Daiquiris are good.
I also like Smirnoff, dude.
Oh,
Yeah.
me too. Oh my gosh, they have this strawberry rose flavor of the Smirnoff vodka.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, it's so good with some Sprite.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
I never tried that. Yeah. I really enjoyed my first use of the blender. We made mudslides with the pre-mixed mudslides, and I really enjoyed that. Like
Is that dessert or an alcoholic beverage?
it's an alcoholic beverage.
Oh,
It was good. It was nice to have by the pool. It was a nice summer kind of a lighter kind of drink, and um
what's in
so
it?
it was just a premix. I
Oh,
believe it's rum that's in there, but it's more like it tastes to me like a caramely flavor
I
almost.
love Kahlua, so
It's kind of like that. Kayla, what would you say?
I think so. I think it is. The ones we did were the coffee ones.
Oh my gosh. So
Oh,
we did something so amazing. So oh my gosh, it was so good. It was a coffee drink with that had alcohol in it. It was pre-mixed, but it was a like a um what do
one
you
of
call it?
was
With
it
the
one of those cans that like when you open it, uh the I don't think it's CO2, is it?
yes, it's CO2, but I can't exactly think of how they say that they do it. But so we mixed that together, and it made it very frothy. So it was like a very it felt like a very high end kind of drink that you didn't hardly have to spend any money on. It was just something refreshing to have by the pool, and it was very nice. Very,
They were
very
supposed to like pre-made coffee martinis, but instead of using them as a martini, we put them in the blender with ice and made slushies out of them, and they were amazing.
yeah, they were very good. So for a nice like summer drink, if you want to do something like that, it's a good little recipe. We should put that up there. Nitro. It's a nitro
That's
drink.
it. Yes, nitro.
Yeah.
Is
So,
Nitro the name brand?
No, that it's nitro. It has nitric
Oh,
oxide.
nit-
So when you
oh,
open it, it foams your coffee and everything for you.
oh, okay.
They make them non-alcoholic also. The same type of thing, but these ones had I don't know what kind of alcohol
And
it
so
was.
believe it.
can
You
you
couldn't
purchase
taste
that
it.
like Walmart or?
Fries at the grocery store,
Okay.
but I don't know if they might have them at Walmart, but we bought them just at Fry's at the grocery store.
Super good. It worked out good. But anyway, yeah, it's good. Good little summer drink. One of the things that I want to do on my new grill, my zero experience grill, is make skewers. I want to do like chicken and pineapple skewers and
Mm.
try things like that.
Like
I
shish kebabs?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And I think that would be actually pretty easy because everything's kind of stuck together. So to turn it, you just kind of roll the skewer on each end. So it might be a good thing to kind of start with. I'm not
The
sure.
kids, the kids might even actually be able to cook their own if they would eat them. I don't know if they would eat them.
It's like a healthy s'more. Just joking.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like make your own food. No.
Yeah. That's so funny. This is why I'm not a mom. Like,
Oh,
here,
Meg, you would
here's
be a
some
wonderful
sharp
mom.
skewers. Yeah. And while you're at it, go shuck some corn, and here's some corn holders.
But
Poke your eyes out. Okay, we can handle it.
the thing is, I started letting my kids use knives and stuff before my husband was comfortable with it.
I thought you were gonna say you
But
would
I-
let them use
but
them
I-
before you let your husband use them. That's so funny.
No, he used them. He just wasn't as comfortable with them using them as I was, because I know I sat there and I told them, this is the way you use it. This, keep your fingers out of this. I gave them the tips I use as a blind person to keep
Mm.
themselves safe. So I felt very confident with my kids using sharper knives at like 8 or 9. Where my
Uh-huh.
husband's like, "Are you sure they're okay?" He's more worried about it, but they've been very safe with them. Just because I'm like, hold it this way so your fingers are completely out of the way. And so I think that helped a lot of them just learning how to do it the way I do, unseeing, and that made me feel a lot more comfortable knowing that, hey, they have the skills to be safe.
Mhm.
So, but yeah,
Yep.
it's all about what you teach them, I guess.
I think
Yeah.
that brings up a good point. Like, I was trying to think about that, but I feel like kids that have parents that are blind they're more able to communicate. It seems like they're more observant. So, and it's not like they're doing it like they're doing it because they know, because they're being asked sometimes, like, hey, can you find this for me, or can like they're more of like a helper, which, or they're kind of not expected to do it, but they're just there, so they do it. I don't know what you think about that, kid. Like, because I'm not a
I
parent, but I
I
think
do feel like they are helpful, and I've been told by almost every single teacher of both of my kids that they have a very good attention to detail. And I think that's one of the reasons they both got art awards is because I'll ask them questions. I'm like, "Oh, what does it look like? What color is that? What color is the flower? What, like when we're walking around, they'll be like, oh, that's a pretty flower. Well, what color is it? What kind of flower is it?" And I ask them a lot of questions so that their communication skills are very high, it seems like. And I feel like they just pay attention. I don't want to say that. Well, to detail a little bit better, I guess, than some other kids where it's not as important because it's just there. It's just a flower over there that the mom could see too. So it wasn't really necessarily worth noting the color or the type or, things like that. So I ask a lot of detail, and um we also will go like on walks and stuff. And my daughter does descriptive audio when we're walking, which is hilarious and it entertains all of us. But then I also get to see, I didn't know there was someone over there loading groceries into their car. Now I know that, and then I can kind of have a more of a picture in my mind of my surroundings, which makes it a lot more fun for all of us. Honestly, we're all interacting a lot more than if we're just walking in our own world. So I find I love it. I think it's really, really cool. And I think that it will serve them well in their life later. It also gives them a different look on life. Like people with disabilities, they're not going to be afraid to go up and talk to them. And I've noticed that with my son is he'll talk to anybody. Um which is not necessarily a good thing, but all the time. But I feel like they don't judge people because they've been around a lot of different people. They've been around people with not just blindness, but all kinds of different disabilities and stuff. So I think it's really cool that they get that opportunity that a lot of people don't. So they won't be the kid in the grocery store being like, "Oh, I've never met a blind before." So
Yeah, exactly.
so I think it's really cool this opportunity they get to have because of it. And I don't feel like because of blindness, I don't feel like they miss out on a lot in life either.
So
So,
another thing that our children have had that most children haven't had is that what they get at the NFB conventions. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of a cool experience for the kids. I know my two sons always enjoyed the NFB conventions that we'd go to. I don't know
mhm.
if you, Kayla, if you and your husband have gone to a national NFB convention and taken your children, but it's so much fun for the kids. And so, like, my kids are both sighted, right? But
Mhm.
at the NFB convention, they would like, I would take them to the child care place, you know what I mean? And they would interact with blind children, because like a lot of course, there were blind parents there and they dropped their kids off in the daycare. And a lot of the kids were sighted with blind parents, but a lot of the kids were also blind. So my kids were playing with blind children, you know what I mean? And it was really fascinating watching my children getting the opportunity to play with blind children and learning how blind children played and stuff like that. And so I was really glad that my children got that opportunity where a lot of children don't.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've actually never been to a national convention yet.
Oh,
Someday. I've been to 2 or 3 state conventions, but that's about it. So,
well, they had it in Vegas last year, and I know they're talking last year when they had it in Vegas, they were talking about being in Vegas 2 years from then. So next year, hopefully, it'll be in Vegas again, and that's like within a fairly easy driving distance of here. And at that point, we'll probably drive down there. I might have Brandon or Dee or my sister drive. So if you guys want a carpool, we could all go.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
that would be a lot of fun if they did it there again. I would like to try to make it. I can't remember why I couldn't go last year. I feel like there's something else going on at the same time that I just wasn't a possibility.
Yeah, there were a few people that I talked to who just couldn't go because something else was going on. And it was really unfortunate because it was a really good experience for a lot of people to go. And that's why at the time they were talking about doing it in Vegas again in 2 years. So that's why I'm thinking next year it'll probably be in Vegas. So
Yeah, I really hope it's somewhere on this side of the country that's easier for us to get to that we can
yeah.
drive. It would be really nice if they switched off every other year and doing it that way.
Yeah.
It seems a little more fair for everybody, but um yeah, I would really like to go. So,
Mhm.
I like Vegas.
Yeah, my boyfriend was saying that we should take a road trip to Vegas, and I've been saying that for about a week now. Because now that stuff is starting to open up, I really want to go to Vegas and just stay at a nice hotel for a few days and go out and eat at some nice restaurants and maybe do some shopping, and maybe see people again. Pretend that the world is coming back to life, which I think it is. I'm really dying to go participate, but I don't want to drive to Vegas and then find out nothing's open. So
Yeah, that would not be fun.
Yeah, so my boyfriend and I, we've been talking about it, and I told him when he said yesterday that we should go to Vegas, I said, "Yeah, let's see if there's any hotels open and maybe we can make reservations because we can easily drive over." My sister can drive, so the three of us actually have been talking about going to Vegas. We've been talking about it for quite a bit during this quarantine. As soon as the quarantine is lifted, the three of us were going to make a trip to Vegas.
That'll be fine. Yeah, it's only like a 4.5 hour drive, 5 hours, so it's not even
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah.
And that's if you stop, because we always stop at interesting places, get out, go to the bathroom, walk around. Um, I want to go to California. I want to go to the beach. That's where I just so bad, but I don't know if that's gonna happen this year. Because like LA County still, they said they're under a quarantine for or a stay at home order for another 3 months, is what I heard last time for. Um,
Really?
so that kind of puts a damper on going to the beach. So I
Mhm.
don't know exactly. California's opening count. It's up to the counties
Mhm.
more so of when they're opening.
Mhm.
My husband won't be going back to work until at least October right now.
Okay. What
So
does your husband do again, Kayla?
he is a fraud investigator for PayPal. I don't know if I'm allowed
Oh,
to.
oh,
So yeah, so he can do most of his job from home anyways, and that's awesome. He loves it. I mean, I make him coffee and breakfast every day and bring it to him at his desk, and um, my son is really liking it because he can my son can be like, "Hey dad, look at this real quick." My husband can just look over the balcony and see Jonah down there, like with his toys or something on TV he thought was cute or cool or whatever. So I feel like that this time has really helped them bond as well, because
Mhm.
I would have been home with the kids either way, but
Mhm.
for him to have this time with the kids that he really wouldn't have ever had is really cool. So
That's great.
yep. So once he gets back in the office and he's allowed to take PTO again, he'll have a whole lot of hours saved up to take time off. So that is the hard thing. Like, he can't really get time off of work right now. So he's trying to get my son's birthday off, and he's going to see if a supervisor can push it through. But right now they're saying
But
no.
he's working from home, right?
Yeah,
Or
but still have to log into the computer, and they
oh,
monitor like a certain quota of accounts you have to
oh,
serve every hour. And it's not like he can just be like, okay, clock in and just leave.
right.
Um, and
And he also can't set his hours. He has to be logged on during specific hours.
somewhat. So he's going to work with a supervisor, and see. I think that she'll help us out. I mean, he doesn't ask for much. He's asking for a half a day off in a couple
Mhm.
weeks. So it's just right now, they're not approving any time off. Like, he tried to get time off to go run down to the school and drop off instruments and library books and stuff like that. Um, so he couldn't get it off. So he just did it on his lunch, and he had enough time. We weren't sure how busy it was going to be, but it went really quick. You just drove up, you handed it to him through the window, and that was about it. So it was pretty simple, but yeah. So now I need to get my daughter a clarinet because we had to return the one to the school.
Mhm.
So,
So did you have to return the one to the school because the school's no longer going to be teaching band or
well, school's out for the summer. So Wednesday was their last day of classes.
right?
So it was the school's instrument. We were borrowing it from the school. So
Oh,
yeah, so I'm just gonna call like Milano's Music and stuff like that and see what they have, and if they have like a rent to own program or something along those lines. I'm not exactly sure what we're gonna do yet, but
mhm.
she is signed up for band in junior high, so that's her elective is band.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and then if she stays in band through eighth grade, well, they used to. I don't know if they're going to do this. They used to go to Disneyland, and yeah, Disneyland, and they would play their instruments at Disneyland.
Mhm.
So that might be another opportunity. There was a lot of stuff that they missed out on. Like, my daughter didn't get to do a sixth grade science project. And I was just thinking, we were watching a video and they were talking about that, and I'm like, oh, you didn't get to do that. That really, that So there's a lot of stuff that we did as a kid that they're gonna miss out on, or that she already missed out on. So, but I don't know. I'm very curious at how things are gonna go forward here for education, because I don't, it's going to be different,
Uh-huh.
but I don't know. Hopefully the differences are an improvement.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, stuff is definitely changing, but I do see a lot of improvements.
yeah,
Um,
I see people being more, like I said before, we all need to be kinder and nicer to each other. And I do see that out in the world. Um, I don't know.
and
I
people are
want
paying more
to,
attention
maybe
to
because I'm looking
detail.
for that.
People are paying more attention to detail.
Yeah.
Not only detail in their environment around them, but details in their fellow man. I think
Hmm.
people are starting to realize what they're saying to their friends and neighbors more and how it's making them feel,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So I know it's a pandemic and lots and lots of people died, but I feel like it's what the world kind of needed. It's like a reboot almost for
Mhm.
everybody to be a little, you know,
It's amazing you say that because I've been hearing a lot of people saying that.
yeah. So I feel like a lot of people, it gave people the time to figure out what was important to them. And I think a lot of people, the things they used to think were important really are not as important as they thought it originally was. It was more of a social importance rather than a personal importance, I guess would be the way to put it. That makes sense.
You
So,
know, speaking of learning stuff through all this, my boyfriend was telling me this morning that he realized through this he made some mistakes because he's been staying up all night and eating junk and all of that while I've been going to bed and getting a good night's sleep and getting up every morning at 4 o'clock and hitting my treadmill. And so here we are now all these months later and I'm doing great and he's really sluggish and struggling. So um
yeah. Yeah, I've been working out every day. I still try to eat somewhat healthy. I have noticed my diet is not as good as it used to be, just because the kids are home and I'm eating whatever I'm cooking for them.
mhm,
Um and so I'm eating more often just because I feel snacky because the food's there, it's,
mhm,
I'm cooking, I might as well eat it. Where
mhm.
before, when the kids weren't home, I would forget to eat lunch, I wouldn't feel hungry. And so in some aspects, it's better that I am eating. And we're just trying to find more foods that are snacky but healthy and stuff like that. We do a lot of like fruits and veggies and salads and stuff like that. So
I like granola and trail mix and pretzels and those sorts of snacks.
yeah, I love trail mix. I'll go to Costco and I'll just buy a bunch of bags of stuff, and then I make my own trail mix. And that's
Mhm.
always fun too, to pick out stuff. So the kids will get to, pick out stuff to put in it, and we'll make a huge container of it. And so um I've gotten them a lot more involved. Like, they helped me clean the house this weekend. Jonah mopped, and Jordan like did her part of sweeping, and so they've been helping out a lot more. Um but yeah, Jonah really likes to mop. It's funny. He's like, "Can I mop?" I'm like, "Yes."
Oh, great.
Please do. So
Yeah.
I've noticed that since we've been home so much more, that they've actually taken pride in, like, "Look, mom, I cleaned this up. Look how nice it looks." They're keeping their rooms more clean. Jonah had all his guys everywhere. And he plays with Halo guys, and he had these big battles, and then he cleaned it all up and put it all away before bed, and I was impressed. I'm like, I didn't even ask him to do that. He's just like, "Yeah, it's easier for you to walk through and tell me goodnight this way." And I'm like, "Sweet."
That's
So
so cool. He was thinking of you and your
yeah.
safety and your comfort. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So they're really good kids. Like, I'm impressed by them. Like, "Are you sure you're my kid?"
Oh, I have two great kids too. Yeah.
like I don't want to brag, but they're very thoughtful. And I feel like they're more thoughtful than I would have been at their age. I want to clean my room up for someone else. I didn't even want to clean it up for me, you know?
Mhm.
Um, so, but they've taken initiative and they've taken pride in their home. I think that's a big part of it. Like they've just
Uh,
taken pride in our house being nicer because that's what I asked for Mother's Day. I was like, I want a clean house. That's all I want for Mother's Day.
mhm.
And they cleaned the whole house and ever since then they've kind of taken pride in having a cleaner home to be in. So it's really cool.
Kayla, it was great visiting with you today.
You too. Thanks for having us on again.
Yeah, and we'll catch up next week. Thank you for joining us today on Becca's World. We hope you enjoyed our candid conversation today. Please like, share, and hit the subscribe button. Peace out. Thank you for watching Becca's World. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.